He flew me and Divios down in order to discuss the game. There was nothing else they flew us down for other than just getting feedback. They asked us specific questions about lots of things about the game.
Yep.
They asked about Karazhan accessories, they asked about the Cronstone market, they asked about certain classes and what we thought, they asked about node wars, they asked about sieges, they asked about sovereign weapons.
We talked about...
Okay, I'm going to let Divios give his take too, and then I'm going to explain to you, because I know all of the feedback that Choice went through his document that him and Divios made on stream, line for line. I was there for all of it. I read the whole thing there with him on stream. I understand his take on it. I'm going to give my take on their feedback for the game as well, right after Divios gives his.
Mainly Shy. Decent bit about Striker.
Stop the cap.
And then a little bit about Megu, Archer, and Ranger.
Okay.
Okay. He got a shimmering piece of old moon. That's crazy. All right. So we all know that Choice and Divios were flown out to PA headquarters to give feedback about the game. This is not the first time that they have done something like this before. Okay. Typically they do ask partners whenever they fly them out to PA headquarters for their opinion on the game when they're there, and you sit down with the team leads. Although this is kind of an exclusive trip, this was a little bit special. It was a little bit special for sure. And my understanding is that there were 6 Pearl Abyss employees in the room. I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble. Okay, so I want to be very clear. Choice did not specify who was in the room other than the COO. All right, the new COO of Pearl Abyss America, I think that's replacing JJ, or the CEO of Pearl Abyss America that's replacing JJ. That guy was in the room. And he did not specify anyone else. And he didn't necessarily specify what they talked about or what their feedback was. But I'm going to fill in the gaps for you. Okay, because I've spoken with all of these people, with the exception of the CEO of Pearl Abyss North America now, before. All right, so the meeting very likely was the CEO, and this is just speculation, CEO of Pearl Abyss America, that new guy, 2 of the team leads for the North American NACMGM team, and the remaining 4 people were probably CMs that were also translators for the new CEO, because that dude probably doesn't speak English. That's who was probably in the room. And they probably said that everything, they probably recorded the meeting, and they probably said that everything that was going to be relayed to the development team after the meeting had been held. Okay. There's multiple problems with that situation. The first is anytime the North American CMGM team does their job, and they do their job very well, even as a non-partner, I'm not going to deny that, right? They're an amazing team. They do great things. They're great people. And they do their job. The NACMGM team does their job. They take the feedback from the community and they give it to the developers. It's the developer team. This is where the block is, right? So we give feedback. Why is this not? Okay. We give feedback as players. Player feedback. Okay. Then there's an initial block here. All right, where Pearl Abyss receives this feedback. Why is my line so skinny? Pearl Abyss receives that feedback. It's still skinny. Okay. Receives that feedback, and then it goes to the NACMGM team for North America. All right. Then there's another block. Webcam blocking. Oh, my bad. Then there's another block. All right. Let's make it nice and big. All right. And then the NACMGM team pushes it to the dev team. All right. And then there's one last block. All right. This is how it works. All right. So players give feedback. Whoa. Players give feedback. It reaches the NACMGM team. They deliver it to the dev team over in Korea. And then the dev team decides that changes need to be made. And that's how feedback, that's like their feedback. Look, this is how Pearl Abyss does their feedback for players in their community. And very obviously, the reason I'm outlining this now, because you're not really allowed to outline it before, but now that I'm not a partner, I don't really mind. Right. So the problem with this, right, is Jay getting replaced? No, Jay is not getting fired. And that's part of the problem. But we'll get to that in a second. So the problem with this, guys, are the players not giving feedback? No, we're giving feedback, right? All of the players are giving feedback. No problem. All right. is the CMGM team doing their job? Now, there's no way for you guys to know that they're doing their job, but I know that they were doing their job. See, because I've met them more times than I can count on my hand. I've been in the Prolibus office multiple times, okay? Multiple times they've explained the process to me. They explain how they do it. And I also know that the CMGM team plays the out of Black Desert Online. Okay, they do. They play a lot of BDO, all right? So their feedback is incredibly based. I'm not going to specify which CMGMs are like, but I'm telling you right now, the CMGM team, like the community managers and the game managers, are based as players that think basically just like you guys do. All right. These are still typically like, they're typically Americans that like are hired. Again, this is the NACMGM team. All right. Etsu, well, Etsu's one of them, obviously, but like Etsu is not the only based player on the CMGM team. This right here. So we know that the CMGM team is doing its job and translating that information to the dev team. So they're taking the player feedback. They are it is getting to the developers' ears. They are hearing what we are saying, okay, through the team. That part is happening. This is the block right here. The dev team is consciously deciding these changes don't need to happen. For one reason or another, the changes don't need to happen or they can't happen, no matter what it is, okay? This is the block right here that is the problem. So what we've done is we've flown Choice and we've flown Divios out to speak directly with what equivocates to the CMGM team, right? And that CMGM team is going to get this, relay that to the dev team, and I fully expect that to happen. But this does not circumvent the issue. Okay, the issue is here. Okay, the issue is right here. Unless we can get past this block, it doesn't matter. Okay. What Choice and Divios did is they sat in a room with people on this team here. They made a huge document, very well thought out, very well put together. Excellent job, because I believe that Choice and Divios both understood the gravity of the situation and that the community was counting on them to deliver feedback to the dev team. What I find very disheartening is that everything in Choice and Divios' document was A, absolutely true and based, and B, the dev team has already heard all of that shit at least 4 times before. At minimum 4 times. They've heard it on the forums. They've heard it on InVen Global, because I've seen it. They've heard it on my channel, because they watch all my videos on that shit. And they've heard it, I guarantee they've heard it from the CMGM team themselves. Like, outside of player feedback, the CMGM team was very likely like, hey, this is not a good idea. For example, I know that the CMGM team, some of them
subscribed for 4 months.
Absolutely
ads.
Relayed information that said you should not implement one-sided decks to North America. The community does not want it. Here's the forum post showing you that that is the truth. Here are the Google Docs that the community has written for it. Here is all of the creator evidence right here. They presented everything they could to not get the one-sided deck changed, and they came anyway. Okay? And they came anyway. So, like, again, it is not that the CMGM team is not doing its job. All right? Death Knell, thanks for the Prime sub, buddy. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm being careful about how I'm saying this. I'm on a line right now, but like I'm being careful about how I'm saying this, because I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble particularly. I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody, and I'm not trying to get people in trouble. So, what did Choice and Divios talk about? All right. So here's the thing: if Choice and Divios' document, what was in the Choice Divios document? I'm gonna give you the TLDR right now. They talked a lot about. Choice said that they didn't have a lot of time to speak with the devs, or they didn't have a lot of time in the meeting, and they wanted to make sure that they got across ideas that were really easy to do and very concrete, positive changes for the game. Okay? So that was their focus in the overall document. They focused on getting rewards, mainly PvP. I just want to be clear, mainly PvP. They want to focus on getting better rewards for PvP. They want to focus on there was a small part of the document that talked about upgrading life skills, but I'll be honest with you, neither of them is a life skiller. So like, it's like, you know, I highly doubt the dev team is going to listen to their take on life skills. It's not that like I'm trying to discredit them. It's that I think that the dev team will not give their words attention on life skilling. They were there specifically to talk about PvP and mainly the rewards associated with PvP. So they talked about RBF. They talked about how to improve RBF. They talked about how to improve Arsha. They talked about how to improve their choice. Had some ideas for how to like reshuffle node wars a little bit that they had in there, but that was kind of at the end of the document. It was kind of a secondary thing that I don't think that they're probably going to listen to. And what I think was missing from the entire document, and this is my only critique, I think that they did a great job. I think that they did the best that they could. All of the changes were something that the devs could literally do in one patch. One patch. They like Arsha, they had suggestions for Arsha where you don't have to use loot scrolls, you're just capped out at 350%. Some of the spots don't require Agris and have Agris on, right? And those rotate every week. Like some really great ideas. But the biggest thing that I saw that was missing is competition in PvP was not brought up, as far as I'm aware, in the document. Okay, I want to be really, really clear that the problem with PvP in North America has very little to do with the rewards being given for PvP. I want to state very clear evidence for that claim because people are gonna try to trash me on it. So we played this game for about 6 straight years as a PvP scene. We played it for about 6 straight years without a single reward in PvP. Everyone, for the most part, knows that we didn't get rewarded for Node Wars, Siege, RBF, AOS. You didn't get fucking like meaningful rewards. You were losing money to PvP. For 6 years, we lost money to PvP because it was just that fun, okay? And the game hovered around 25 to 30,000 players with that formula, okay? With no rewards in PvP. Then they take away the competition in PvP with the new Node War system, open world deck changes, all that karma change, everything. They take away competition between guilds and between other players. And the 60% of the players leave the game. All right. Now keep in mind, guys, the new Node War system has the best rewards for PvP we have ever seen. You're talking about like 50% drop rate or whatever, 25% drop rate, 50 life skilling mastery, like crazy stuff. Crazy good rewards, and then 1 billion silver or whatever, like lots of money for winning in the new Node War system. Really good rewards, and you see how popular that is in the West. It's garbage. Okay, so the problem with the game is not the rewards, because they made a new system, and the rewards in the new system are something that everyone's happy with, but the rewards are not enough to keep players playing that content. Okay, this has been proven. You could have the best rewards ever. People will do it initially and then get bored with it and move on anyway. This is proven with the Node War system. It's also proven with Siege as well. Okay, 3 guilds dropped on NA. All of NA tonight is wild, all on Serenity. Yep, there it is. I told you. There's just nothing going on. And the reason is there's no competition in PvP anymore. That's at the core of the problems with the game. And what I was really hoping that Choice and Divios would emphasize, because they know it, they're really good PvPers, right? They're really good players. They know that that is the heart of the PvP scene, and they know that that should have been mentioned. They should have. I know it's a bigger concept, and they were trying to focus on things that the devs could do short term and like really bang it out, but like God is my witness, they have got to, like, and maybe they did bring it up. Maybe they did, but neither Divios nor Choice hinted at the fact that they brought this particular issue up with them. The competition in PvP is really what completely obliterated the PvP scene in the West. Worldwide. I'm just going to say worldwide. Korea never really had a PvP scene. It's about the same after the change as it was before the change. NA and EU had really solid PvP scenes, and admittedly the system was garbage, but like the community made it work. The system was good because the community made it good, not because the system itself was actually good. But like then they took that away, and no matter what, people could always, no matter what they were doing with the game, and this is the brutal truth, no matter what the developers were doing with Black Desert Online, no one gave a shit. We started trending toward this cron path years ago. No one said anything. No one really cared. Okay, we started going down like the Debo route many years ago. We started all of this stuff. Even the Dead God armor pieces, right? and no one really cared. None of it mattered. And you know why? It's because everyone could go do the content that they wanted to do, which was no matter what happens with the game, they could always do Node Wars. They could always do Siege. They always had GVGs, right? They could always go beef with they could join the guild that they really like and then go fight other guilds, right? Those systems were always there and it was always very competitive. So it kind of kept people, even if they weren't actively involved in the PvP scene, it kept people grinding. It kept people playing. It kept people progressing. Okay, long term, because those systems were in the game. Now those systems are all gone. They've removed and destroyed like the fabric of what made the PvP system, like the PvP scene, like the community itself, so much fun to be in. It's gone. It's been removed. And so now that sense of purpose for all of those players is now gone, players don't feel like there's a reason to play the game. And then you reflect on, players start turning around, they start looking at, oh, wait, Sovereign kind of sucks. Wait, why does Dekia 2 is just a repeat of the same shit that it's like they woke up. It's like out of a trance. Like, wait, Dekia 2 is just dog shit content. It's low effort crap. Wait a minute, Sovereign's garbage too. Wait, there's problems with Karazad. It's overall kind of like a net, net neutral, right? There's some really good things with Karazad, and then there's bad things about Karazad. Overall, kind of net neutral, and I state as evidence that no one really logged in for Karazad, okay? It was like the big patch happened, and the player base stayed basically exactly the same as it was before. It's not like people were crazy excited about coming back to the game over Karazad. A few people, sure, no question, but like, some people quit, some people joined, but overall it's kind of a net neutral for the game. I think it was overall a positive step for the game, but like neutral when it comes to the community. So like, I think that even if they take all of Choice's and Divios' opinions and they implement them to the game, I think that the players currently playing the game will have a better time. Absolutely. There are good points, all of them. However, they could change almost everything in that document, and sure, we would see a certain percentage of players return, but not even remotely close to what we want. The competition in PvP is really what players want in their PvP scene. It doesn't have to be toxic competition. It doesn't have to be like this crazy. That's what the developers don't understand, and that's what I really wish that they had emphasized, is that like they seem to view competitive PvP as just objectively toxic and inherently toxic no matter what you do. And that's just simply not the case. They're absolutely able to manage players that are exploiting systems or going over the line or stepping over the line while still keeping the systems in the place in the game. It's really just that simple. It's not that hard. They could make systems that players really enjoyed and are competitive while limiting the amount of toxicity that players can have with each other in the game. So like, I think that the Divios and Choice had a great a great talk with the devs. I do think that it will reach the dev team's ears, and it already has, and they have very likely heard it. They are not allowed to say how Perlibus responded to a lot of the things they said in their document. I could almost tell you pound for pound how they responded to each thing, but I'm not going to go through each line of the document. I will say that some of the stuff that they asked for, the dev team is probably just going to say that that's not possible, or that they're just flat out not going to do it. And then others of it, they're going to be like, all right, well, we'll see what we can do. And then it'll take them, well, they'll put it in the Calpheon ball, and then we'll get like a version of what Choice and Divios tried to tell them to do. But we won't get a vision of what Choice and Divios tried to get them to do. We'll get a version of it, right? So I don't think ultimately that the talk is going to do a lot of good. I think that it was really good. I think that Choice and Divios were great like representatives for the North American community to go and do that. And I think that they took it really seriously. And on behalf of the community, because now I'm not a partner, right? I'm just like one of you guys. On behalf of the community, I'm really happy that our streamers take it seriously, right? Like they take responsibilities like that really seriously. So big props to them. I think everything in their documents was really, really solid. I just wish that they had talked about competitiveness and PvP and really hammered home to the devs that, yeah, we want all of this other stuff changed, but at the heart of the systems that you create in BDO, there needs to be competition or you will have no PvP. It's just the way that it goes. But, yeah. So that's my thoughts on the Divios and Choice dev talk stuff. I know that was like a big divergence from the video, but you know, probably sad. Sorry, this is a Chinese game now. I think that they probably made millions of dollars in the first week of the Chinese release for the game. No question. I think that it will start to stabilize. I think their next quarterly earnings report will be through the roof good, presumably through the roof good. And if it's not, then the company's in a lot of trouble. But like the Chinese release for BDO should stabilize them to get to Crimson Desert release, and that's really what they need to reach. Once Crimson Desert is released, and then they're going to make Crimson Desert a live service game after it releases, they don't need to worry about BDO as much anymore. That's the truth. Have you seen the patch KR got? We're getting more and more life skill buffs already. It may be underrated or unrelated, but there are changes coming. Yeah, see, they didn't really talk to them about Divios and Choice are not really life skillers. They didn't really talk to them about life skilling buffs. So this is just the developers buffing life skilling. And to be clear, that's a W. Like all life skillers are just going to take that W. They need to be buffing the crap out of life skills, all of them. Bartering needs to be buffed. They're so hesitant to buff any amount of like money that you get from bartering. It's so mentally ill. It's so dumb. And then they won't buff like gathering. Right? Hunting is the only viable life skill right now. Gathering is like okay, solid, right? But like, why would you active fish? Why would you actively go out and horse train stuff? Why would you go and process them? Processing. What the f are we talking about? Who's gonna go craft things? Do you guys remember when we used to be able to craft items in BDO? The funny thing is, they phased out all the old crafting workshops in the game, and this is some crazy shit that they're not gonna tell you about. Okay, there used to be these things in the game where you could click on this. Now, all anyone ever cares about is worker lodging and residences, right? That's all everyone ever cares about. But if you click on this stuff, you can see there's tool workshops, mineral workshops, refineries, furniture workshops, although those are still used a little bit, armor workshops, weapon workshops, functional clothes workshops, carpentry, wood, mineral. Okay, so like all these different types of workshops, all of that content has not seen an update in the 10 years that we've had Black Desert. Okay, and the crazy thing is that all the new players, we're getting this new life skill with Land of the Morning Light. Do you guys realize what they're doing? They're introducing something to you that they actually gave us 10 years ago. They're not actually updating crafting and processing. They're just giving us like this budget fix, and they're saying, hey, look at this new life skill. It's not a new life skill. This is the same shit that we've had for years. You're just going to put workers on a node, essentially, and you're going to process materials into something that everyone else on the server needs. Supply and demand, right? And only a certain amount of players are going to be able to do it. And then the other players are going to need it. And the supply is going to be higher than the demand, which is going to make it great silver per hour to do. And life skillers are going to love that. I would love it if they would just rework processing, well, just crafting, because processing and crafting kind of go together, into a reasonable life skill. When I think about MMOs, you know, and I played a new MMO recently. The video will come out on my channel in a couple of days, but there's a new MMO coming out, and the crafting system in that game really reminded me of what BDO's old crafting system used to be. And it was so cool because you used to be able to, guys, make a living in BDO making tools at a tools workshop. You know, like, do you guys remember this? Like my old players, like, you used to be able to make magic tools or like lucky tools, sell them, you know, and like or you would save the luckies and you would sell like the other stuff, right? Then there's also like Grunil crafting, like the armor workshop, which is like, it's like around here somewhere. Oh, that's carpentry. Is it this one? That's carpentry too. That's around here somewhere. But there's an armor workshop in Alta Nova. There it is, level 5. Level 5, right? This is where you crafted your Grunil. And players could literally go out and gather all day as a life skiller, and then process the materials together, and then have a worker that was like really good and efficient, like an artisan level 30 worker with all the right skills on that worker, right? Skills on workers. In 2024, who cares? Who asked? Okay. But back then, it all mattered, and you could pump this out efficiently and make a living in the game off of stuff like this. Can't do anything like that right now. It's completely waste of time. All of this is completely outdated. It's a total waste of time. And now I think it's egregious that they're introducing this new life skill on this patch, which, yeah, it's exciting. But to me, it's kind of a slap in the face as an old player, because you look at the system that once was, and you look at this shitty version that they're going to give us here, and they're calling it a new life skill. What are we talking about? Like, it's obnoxious. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. Anyway, like, they need to update their life skills, are in dire straits. Dire straits. They can make workers do lower grade cooking and alchemy, so you could only do the end game recipe, so it takes you less time, but you still need manas and to get more money. No, I mean, you can't really do that for other reasons. They just need to make resources tough to get, right? Like, make mastery cutoffs. And here's the thing. They don't have to increase mastery caps. What they could do is they could take, and this is just off the top of my head. So you have 2,000 mastery is the max cap on mastery. But if you have 2,200 mastery, there's actually a special proc that will drop from Lions that will give you, I don't know, an ability to craft an extremely custom furniture piece that is like best in slot for PvE that everyone on the server is going to want. It's rare, and you have to have 2,200 mastery in order to do it. Okay, that's the only thing that 2,200 mastery gives you. That would help bring back crafting. You have to craft it at a workshop, whatever you need, stuff from hunting, whatever you could like, that would help. It would also give life skillers the much needed buff. It's like, why in the would we ever go over 2,000 mastery? Who even cares? Right? Who even actually cares? So, like, yeah, I just think that overall their life skills are just in a really bad shape. Bartering, crafting, processing goes in there. Horse training, active fishing, everything. Pretty much everything is not enough money. Even hunting, which is the most money per hour, is still, there's only one version of it. Like, the sniper hunting is like really good, but everything else is just kind of dog. Like, just miserable, bro. Just miserable.